Adam McCorgy, welcome to the Better Project podcast, man. It's a pleasure to have you here in the studio. Caught up for some coffee before, and now we're here ready to make the magic work.
Mate, appreciate your time. Thanks for having me.
Where I want to start is, as I mentioned to you before, a lot of people see you on social media, and they see you as the business guy, the sales guy, you traveling around making money, right? With this podcast, I love to dive deeper. I love to get to know who you are and what made you into the man that you are today. And I'm very curious. Our upbringing really shapes us, whether that's through good experiences or bad experiences that have happened. What are some of those pivotal moments that you believe really shaped the man that sits in front of us today?
Mate, first of all, thanks for having me. Love your studio. The main thing with me, bro, is I grew up in a family that had no money. You know, it was like a very specific time for me. Like if I could look back in my history of like, let's say 5 to 15, the biggest thing that drew for me is hunger. There was a specific moment for me. I was in the car and my dad was sitting down and he was kind of stressing out. This was when I was like maybe 8 or 9. And he was like, how do I pay for takeaway? And he was kind of like getting this little cup in the middle of the console, trying to find dollars to give to the person. So as a kid, I had to kind of really reflect on that growing up because that like kind of gave me that insatiable hunger to be like, I can't have that for me, for my partner, for my family growing up. So in sales, it has to be some level of hunger, right? So then obviously starting with that in mind, got expelled from school, had a very big story there, which I can kind of unpack for you as well. To a point where I had like, you know, no education, left school, 15 years old. Man, I got expelled for the funniest things. You can probably imagine. Fighting kids and just, dude, it was like crazy, you know? But it taught me so much at that age, you know?
I was going to bring that mic just a bit closer to you.
Of course.
Sorry. Yeah. So you mentioned you got expelled. You're getting in a lot of fights. I'm curious, were you an angry kid?
Man, I was furious.
Yeah, why?
I have no idea back then. But looking into it now, I don't know, man. Like I was just a very unique kid. You know, I'm very passionate about the gym now because I was quite overweight as a kid.
Yeah.
I was getting bullied a lot. I didn't have that love and connection from my mom. I grew up in a family of abuse, right? Like my stepdad, my stepmom. So I kind of went to school thinking, you know, just trying to crave connection from people around me, which led me into obviously getting in fights over the wrong things, you know?
Have you done a lot of the inner work now to kind of work
Bro,
through those
100%. I've spent
traumas?
so much money and time. I've seen psychotherapists like weekly. I've gone to events, I've gone to seminars, I've done a lot of things that's like catapulted me to kind of see that stuff. The hardest part is the shadow work, man. Actually going into that level of yourself thinking, fuck, you know, that stuff happened to me, but it happened for me, not to me, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot to unpack.
Talk to me about that work and what are some of the biggest things that came up for you during that?
I think as kids, man, things happen to us and we have no filtration system. So it just happens to us. We just start getting exposed to like, oh, my mum did this to me, or my dad did this to me. But you just have this perspective of the situation. And that perspective, most of the time, it's not right. It's not accurate. So for example, like my mum kicked me out of my home as a kid, you know, which for me back then, it was like a massive reason why we disconnected for years. I didn't speak with her. After doing the work, I was like, okay, it's because she loved me. She was trying to protect me from my stepdad, from abuse, all this other stuff. So that just drew a massive, you know, connection for me with her now. But if I didn't do the inner work, I'd still have that wall up against her. Because you're trying to avoid pain as a kid.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And they say kids are resilient,
Yeah.
right? I actually don't believe that. I believe we just form coping mechanisms
I agree.
to push through the traumas and what we're experiencing at the time.
Absolutely, man. Which maybe as a kid is good for us, but as adults, it can be a catch-22, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy. As you said, like we experience all these things as kids and we kind of like forget about it. And then when we hit our 20s, 25, 30, it's like these things pop up again. It's like, oh shit, that happened to us. And now it's affecting us.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have the tools to do the inner work, to do the shadow work.
Yeah.
What made you want to go down the path of personal development and doing that inner work? Because especially for a lot of men and men our age when we were younger, it's like, why are you doing that weird stuff? Like, why are you going to do the inner work? You know, suck it up, just go get a normal job, you know, don't cry about your feelings. But a lot of us now are starting to realize the importance of doing the personal development and the inner work. What made you go down that path?
But first of all, very grateful. You know, when I was like 17, I found my first mentor. And I think for me, I just had a lot of mentors growing up. People that have had successful businesses, successful lives. And it just changed my whole perspective of what I could be. Because I think growing up, I didn't have that. I just had lots of like abuse, friends that weren't friends, people lying, betrayal, super like ex-girlfriends when I was like 15, 16 that hurt me, traumatized me, in many different ways. But it was just that shift of that perspective where, for example, my first mentor, he said, why don't you go to a Tony Robbins event? I was like, who's Tony Robbins? Besides all the books behind you. Went to the event at 18, it changed my mind, dude. I met people there. I invested money I didn't have just to obviously level up. It's just becoming better for me. I just feel like there's a certain level that people play at, the 1%. Maybe not 1% in business, but 1% in business and let's say life, relationships. I just wanted to kind of keep chasing that. But my person that I was younger, it just had to change because that person wouldn't have achieved the things I've achieved now in business, relationships, life, health.
I'm very curious, what's your intrinsic driving factor? Is it to not live the life that you came from or not put your future kids in that life, to break the cycle in a way?
It's interesting, bro. So you see, a lot of people see my life now, see me doing well, like being on the news, like things like this. And it's quite easy to think, I've made it, I'm making good money. But bro, even last week, dude, I have fevers, bro, every night. Not every night, but once a week. And it's like because I'm working so fucking much, dude. Like I literally work 18, 19-hour days some nights. Like some days, like it's too much, Stress levels are all-time high. So for me, my drive has always changed. It's always been hunger. It's always been wanting to have a better life for myself, my family, my kids. But now it's always about like having a good life for my partner, good life for my family, having a family one day. That's super important for me, bro, because like the worst thing I want to do, like my dad is a huge role model for me of what not to do as a parent. Do you know what I mean? So for him, he was working all day, every day. He wasn't around. He was working a job. He was doing failing businesses. He just did these things that he didn't think about. Like I wouldn't say this, but just like not a good role model for business or for personal life. So if I modeled him, I wouldn't obviously be where I am today. You know what I mean? So I kind of want to, it's like your parents have a role model for you. It's like maybe what to do or what not to do. So both of mine, unfortunately, it's not what to do. Because, for example, even my mum, right now, she's not in the best space, right? Financially and everything. Like I would hate, like I'm almost 30, bro. I'd hate to be 60, 70 and still just be like, fuck, I've got no money. I'm scared. You know what I mean? Like waiting for superannuation. Like I want to create my future now, bro. So that's why I push myself so hard to, because I want to change my whole life now, not later. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does, because unfortunately a lot of people reach that 60, 70,
Yeah,
they
dude.
retire
It's
and,
scary,
we
bro.
get our superannuation, and then it's not going to get you far.
Mate, it's the scariest thought ever. And most people don't think about that. They just go day to day, week to week, month to month, 20, 30, 40. No, I'm 50. Wow, midlife crisis. I've got no money, no assets, no house, nothing.
Yeah.
Now what, bro?
It's a scary word for a lot of people, but this is why we need to have these conversations and educate people and show them
Absolutely,
that
man.
there is more to life than working a 9-to-5 job that you dislike for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and even with sales, man. Like I speak to people, I say, how long did you want to change your life for? Oh, man, 20 years. So why haven't you done it? There's this massive like level of fear people have, this obstacle people have that is like where they are to where they want to go. And it's all made up potentially from trauma, from beliefs that aren't theirs, limitations, and it's just not fair for them, bro.
Do you feel like fear is the biggest thing holding people back?
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Yeah.
It's fear. It's also belief in themselves as well. This shit, man, people don't believe in themselves, dude. They really don't. They're scared of what could happen if it goes wrong, but what happens if it goes right, dude?
Yeah.
That's what people need to think, man. Like when I was 18, dude, I was almost in I was in 20K debt, then 50K debt, then $70,000 in debt, bro. Just spending money on courses, things that didn't work out for me in the past, scams, but I just kept going, bro. That could have been someone's story to give up, but it was my story to keep going and go back, go stronger, right?
Talk to me about that time where, you got yourself in all that debt and you ended up living in your car. What did how long did you live in your car for?
A week.
A week, okay.
Actually, no, probably 2 weeks, bro.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Even so, living in your car for 2 weeks,
Bro.
it would have had a pretty big impact on you. But what are some of the lessons that you learned through that time?
Mate, I wish I could just talk about the whole podcast with this, because this was like a big part of my life. Like there was a point where I was living in my car, but I was almost comfortable with it. Like I started to identify myself with, this is the way my life is. So nothing was kind of phasing me. But it was to a point where And bro, by the way, I was living in Manly, so like people think it was like quite bad. It wasn't too bad. But it was
Yeah.
parked there, the beach, like it was okay. All my stuff was in the back. You can go on my Instagram and
So you're just
see.
like one of the hippies there anyway.
So, bro, whatever, dude. It's not. It's it was quite. It wasn't the best, but there was a turning point for me. There was one specific day where I just had enough, bro. Like I was just like looking at myself in the mirror, unshaven. I wasn't looking good. I haven't been to the gym because I can't fucking pay for the gym. I wasn't working out. Like my self esteem dropped. My self belief dropped. My vision for the future dropped. I didn't have something to look forward to. Right? I was just like completely in a low moment, dude. And then one day I was in the car and I was like, I really want to just work out. I think I have some pre-workout somewhere in the car. I'm going to try and find it somewhere. So I kind of went scavenging around the car, put all the boxes. Like if you saw me back then, you wouldn't see the same person here today. I took all my stuff out of the car, trying to find my pre-workout. Eventually all my boxes were on the fucking grass. Found it. I was like, perfect, cool. Just quickly grab a cup. In the garage, sorry, not the garage. In the car, there was no cup. I was like, dude, what am I going to do? So we went to 7-Eleven. And bro, it was literally the exact same moment like it happened yesterday. I walked in, I was like, okay. I just quickly grab a cup, one of the Slurpee cups. I'm leaving, and the guy said, you got to pay for this. I'm like, really? Like, what do you mean? And he's like, you got to pay for this. I was like, okay. I go to the register, and I think it's like $1, dude, whatever. My card declined. I was like, fuck. And then I did it again. Another card declined. I checked my balance, but I could not pay for a $1 cup. I jump back in my car. I look at myself in the mirror. Dude, I'm like screaming to myself. I'm just yelling, screaming. Like there was like a huge turning point there for me. So then I leave my car. I listen to this song. Never forget the song. It's called Spirit Bird by Xavier Rudd. It's a great song. It's my song, dude. He sung it for me in this moment. And I just run on the beach, dude. I listen to this song. I'm just running. I'm sprinting. And I had to change something inside of me, bro. You know what I mean? Like I just had to change something. I came back, and then also to that story I was also, before I was living in my car, I was living in one of these houses, one of my clients. I owed them about $4,000 for rent that I could not pay. And they had most of my stuff. So not only did I live in my car, most of my belongings were in this house, which I couldn't get access to anymore because they changed the locks. So I was just like, dude, that time of my life was insane. But then I got to the point where I jumped back in my car. I made a decision that this is not my fucking life. I'm going to change it no matter what. I took serious action with what I had back then, which was like sales, my private chef business, my personal training business. And dude, I got to 5K per week in about 2 to 3 weeks from there. I paid the guy back in 3 weeks, and then everything just started shifting for me.
And it all starts from just taking that first step, which a lot of people are scared to do.
Dude, making a decision, bro. Like I was a lot of time by myself back then. I had the shame. Like there's been mentors in my life now. One of my business partners that I used to work with, one of my best friends today, like he saw me in that time, and he saw me in this time, and he's just like so proud. I sent him the other day of like me on the news and everything, and he's like almost crying because he's like, man, I saw you when you weren't there, and you just kept going. But people will give up there, dude. Like it's not an easy time for people. Like for me, it was like horrendous, bro. Like living in a car. Even today, like I just told my mum about it like a few weeks ago. She had no idea.
Really?
No idea. Because it's easy, bro. Like she on Instagram today, she saw my photo, liked my photo, done.
Yeah.
But there's no like context. And I just said to her, like I've because she's not in the best situation at the moment. I said to her, I've been there, but I didn't have a roof. I was literally in my car. I had no money for bond, nothing. Like it was fucking scary, dude.
What's your relationship like with your mum?
Mate, it's great.
Yeah.
Now, again, perspective. Doing the inner work and the shadow work helped me relieve that tension with her and build a connection with her. I think for us, like she's seen me a lot in my journey. She's very proud of me. It's really great to see. We've connected a lot recently, just in the last couple of years. And it's helped a lot, man, in my life, in my just heart, bro, heart driven, what I'm doing at the moment. It's been a good thing.
And your dad, you mentioned, he wasn't really a good role model for you growing up. He was more so a role model of not what to do and how to live your life. And it's very similar to my relationship with my dad. And
Yeah, nice.
I love him, and I know he has his own shit that he's gone through, and I've spoken about it plenty of times before. But a big thing for me that really helped that relationship was sometimes we get so caught up in a head of all the bad things that they do instead of actually looking at the good things
Yeah, that's
and
right.
what they've taught us and the lessons. And I'm very curious, What are some of the good things about your dad or some of the lessons that he's really taught you?
I should have prepped for that one.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, dude, that's an interesting one. Hey,
Because you probably haven't thought about it, have you?
I have in the past, man. To some degree, his resilience, his open mindedness. You know, like he's always trying new things. If I would say that, he's quite resilient. Like he keeps moving forward and keeps going. Yeah, I've always viewed him as like a kind of a good role model, but looking more deeper into it, it's like been a negative role model, especially recently. Like, I don't know, bro. I feel like if you're 60 or 50 or even 40, even 30, bro, if you don't have somewhat like some type of asset or you've got like you've spent like your 20s, bro, going through life. Most people party, most people drink, most people get like hook up and everything. If you hit your 30s and 40s and 50s, if you don't start thinking about things like family, assets, money, future, man, it's hard when you're 60. So for him, same thing, man. He's living a life where he hasn't got anything to his name. You know, so that's like one of my biggest fears, dude. So that's why I push myself so much today. So positive lessons, man, I would say that's a positive lesson as well, because that's positively changing my life.
Yeah.
Right. So it's one of those things.
Yeah, no, I like that you brought that up because there was a quote I seen, I think Hormozy said it, maybe, around, you can either be a skilled 20-year-old and an unlived, 30-year-old,
Yeah.
or you can be a very skilled 20-year-old and unlived 30.
Yeah.
So for you, it's like, do you want to work your ass off in your 20s
Yeah.
and have all the skills and not so much have all those life, lived experiences in your 30s? Or do you want to, party and have all those
Yeah,
experiences, but have no skills in your 30s, have no
Yeah.
money, no assets, nothing like that? And it's understanding like what do you truly desire and what
Exactly,
and
bro.
what do you believe's best for you?
Yeah.
And both of us are on the path of let's work our asses off in our 20s because it's all going to pay off in our 30s.
Yeah. And I love the grind, bro. I love it, dude. I love the problems in business. I love working with people. I love leadership. Like there's so many things I love about business, dude, you know?
Yeah, you have to, and like we said at the cafe before, you got to enjoy the grind. So many of us
Yeah.
are so outcome focused.
Yeah, that's right.
And then once we get the outcome, we just kick the can further down the road. And it's just like a never ending cycle.
Yeah.
For you, how do you get in the mindset of enjoying the grind? Because it is hard. It is hard to show up each and every day and be disciplined and not rely so much on motivation, because motivation can only get you so far. You got to have that discipline and
Yeah, for sure.
that intrinsic drive to turn up each and every day. How do you work through that?
It's interesting, man. So you're a fit guy and you go to the gym, you're a machine, dude. You know?
I try my best.
So I think that's some level of conditioning. You know, you condition yourself to be that way. For me, when I was 15, I got expelled from school. I started working in a restaurant. It was actually the 24th best restaurant in the world. I was working at Rockport with Neil Perry and George Street. 3 had a restaurant, $500 per person. It was insane, dude. Like I was working 19-hour days. And then from there, I started working at this other restaurant, which is a restaurant called Noma. Best restaurant in the world, dude. Number 1, 3 Michelin star restaurant. Like it's insane. So I don't know if you know much about restaurants, but that's like the creme of the creme, the best in the world, world class, everything. I was working there for free, dude. So I was conditioned so much at a young age, just to work, free, experience. Just like get experience. And that taught me so many things about food, for sure. I can cook you up a storm, dude. But it taught me about like insatiable values. So like what's important, hunger, drive, consistency. So all of that comes into me now in business. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm willing, bro, to work a whole week for free to learn a skill. I'm willing to just like spend a whole day with the team unpaid. Like I'm so invested in that because I know the outcomes. Whereas today, unfortunately, in society, people finish school, they jump online. Like I love Andrew Tate stuff, but they'll go through and look at all these like random reels and everything. Like, fuck, I want the Lamborghini. I want the Bugatti tomorrow. But they're not willing to put in the energy and the effort to get there. You know what I mean?
It's the instant gratification.
It's huge, bro. So for me, that all of my whole story with like chefing to then going on working on super yachts for billionaires and everything, it taught me so much, bro, about like what I want, the values I need to have, and then what to do in business, bro. And I think that's why I'm moving so fast, because I've kind of got this perspective about my life and business relationships now.
I'm curious, what are some of those top values of yours that have really helped you in in becoming the man you are and progressing in life and business?
I think growth is like my number one for sure. I was talking to my business partner the other day, and he was saying, "Man, the issue with us, because he's on the same level as me when it comes to values. He's like, man, we can make 500K a month, we can make $1 million a month, we can just keep going up, but nothing's gonna change. Like we're not gonna get high or low because we're so invested in growth. It's just the idea of like having a business and like growing it, having a team, growing people, having yourself, growing your skills. Like that's the fulfillment for me. That's huge. Second is money, bro. I need to, needs to be a big driver for me. It has to be because money is the fuel, bro, for business, the fuel for our relationship, the fuel for everything, you know? So I need to have that as a driver. Most people, they don't have that as a driver, and you can tell, man. You know what I mean? So like I'm always pushing money in what I'm doing because that's what's ultimately going to have a better life for me, better life for my people around me, better life for my partner, family. It's very hard to buy things for your kids and things today because if you don't have money, you can't do much. Better schools and everything, right?
Would you say you have a good relationship with money?
Yeah, bro, for sure. For sure. Avid saver. I don't do much investing, but I invest in back into businesses.
Invest in yourself.
Invest in myself, bro. I spend so much money
That's
on
your biggest
myself, dude.
asset.
Yeah, bro. Knowledge is power, dude. And execution, dude. You need to execute on what you learn, obviously.
And on money, you know, what did you learn from working with some of the richest people, especially in Australia? Like, did it make you realize that yes, money's important, but money's not everything?
Bro, like, I'm telling you right now, there was a part of my life, it was probably like a good 2 year block. It feels like it was a dream. Like, I can't say who, I've signed NDAs and shit for these people. But I was working for a family that were the richest family in Australia at one point. Um, I'm not going to say who, but maybe he liked cricket, I'm not too sure. But he was a successful guy, like a billionaire. And then I was working for them. I was working for a property developing company that was worth like $5 billion. And I was working for about 11 different families at one point when my business was thriving all at one time. I had a kitchen in Manly, like it was cranking, bro. I was doing personal training for them as well. And bro, it just opened my eyes so much, dude. Because my first day walking in this house, this was the first family I worked for. I think they're worth like $300 million, like a lot of money. I walk in, it's like clockwork. It's like a house manager, like a cleaning manager. There was like cleaners. There was there was just everything, bro. It was like a full business in their house, running their house for them. It just opened my eyes, bro. Because coming from where I've come from, you know, growing up with my dad, my mom was like, man, this is like a whole new life. Do you know what I mean? I kind of got glamorized by all that stuff to begin with. I was like, the guy has three Maseratis in the garage. He's got all this stuff, you know, spending 10K on a weekend for a meal, staying at Qualia on Hamilton Island for like 2 weeks. Like, I was glamorized by that stuff at the beginning. But it taught me, man, freedom is important, bro. Like, they've got freedom. They've got a life. Obviously, their business drives them. So that was a good role model to begin with. Then I started working with other families, and I realized, one, money doesn't make you happy. I was working with this family. They were worth quite a few $1 billion. And the guy, you know, he was happy ultimately, but I just didn't feel like he was content with everything. Like he always wanted more, which I think is a good thing if it's coming from a good place. But there's also a place in people where you keep wanting more, but then it's coming from a place of neediness. Like I'm happy wanting more because I love growth as a value. I'm not needing this for it, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I'm happy where I'm at. I'm happy where I'm going. Most people, they're happy where they're going, but not where they're at, right? So for him, I felt the same thing with him. And to what point will you be like, I've got enough, you know, like we're not going to be here forever. What's important? But obviously, you need to get to that level in business and life. You need to be just a weapon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he was a savage dude. He had an island
Fucking hell.
in Fiji, bro.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I went there. It was phenomenal.
It would have been.
Yeah, dude. I was living on a super yacht for just under 12 months. Oh, sorry, 12 months, and I was living in a super yacht for 6 months in Fiji.
And it comes back to the point of you can live life and have the experiences and still be very skillful as well. It's like you can have both.
Yeah.
But you just got to work really hard for it.
Yeah. So then I came back, bro, and I was like, man, I'm like, you know, 22. Now what? Like, I just worked for like probably 11 of the richest families in Australia, worked on these super yachts. I was butting heads with like Larry Page's yacht in Fiji, Marco Hill, the jeweler. And I was like, mate, what am I going to do now? So I made a clear decision when I came back, and I was like, look, I need to do my own thing. Like, I'm great at sales. I was doing closing as well on the side back then. I need to build my own business. I need to do my own thing because, man, I want the yacht, bro. You know what I mean? I don't want to work 20-hour days on a yacht, right? Like it's not even about it's not even about buying the yacht. It's about the freedom of thinking I can buy one. You know what I mean? Having
Yeah.
those experiences for the family. That's what it's all about to me, dude. At the moment, like that's my pure driver.
So how would you define freedom then for you?
Mate, doing a podcast with you on a Friday morning, not having to commute to work, not being stuck in traffic for 4 hours, dude. Do you know what I mean? Like the things that you can just wake up and make your own schedule, doing what you love. Like I think freedom and energy play a really good part together. So for me, it's like you would do the same thing. So in your calendar, you might have a full day of doing what you love and 10 minutes of something that you hate. And all of a sudden, that 10 minutes, your energy drops,
Yeah.
right? So it's like now it's like, cool, my whole calendar is things that I actually genuinely love. Working with people, seeing people grow, running businesses, like actually closing. Like I love all this stuff, man. Whereas in the past, I've kind of had a mixed calendar. Things that my aspects I love at the job, aspects I love at, whatever I'm doing, but it's not like the energy. Like the energy now for me is important, but I love my life, dude.
It's so important. Like for me right now, I'm in that mixed calendar
Yeah,
of
gotcha.
like days where I'm working my day job and the energy is so low. Like
Yeah, but you feel
I'm
you feel the
working for a
difference.
couple of hours. I'm just like, I'm ready to sleep. I don't want anything to do with this.
Yeah,
Then days like today where I can wake up, I can go train, I get to have connection and beautiful conversations with people
Yeah.
like yourself, work with clients, build the business, spend time with the family, and I'm just on a high all day long.
thriving,
I go
man.
from 5:30 to like midnight. I'm like, what the hell? What just happened today?
Yeah.
And then you go to work the next day and like, oh, this again?
You're looking at the calendar. Like, bro, when I came back in this boat, I was like, I might try and do like head chefing for a bit, try to make like 100K a year, whatever. So that was my goal. I couldn't work on boats anymore, dude. I was done. I worked at this random place in Manly, and but I was making like, I don't know, I did like a week's work there just to see what would happen. I was making egg and bacon. I was vegan. I'm still vegan. I was making egg and bacon rolls for the whole day. Worked one day. I was like, bro, this is like the most. I'm like killing myself, dude. You know what I mean? Like I was just waiting this autonomous job. People would come in, egg and bacon. I was like, bro, what am I doing? Like I'm worth so much more. Like it's like you take someone from. It's like you take like a great Hollywood actor, like say Mark Wahlberg, and bring him into like a small studio somewhere here. Like he's like, man, I'm fucking. My mind is here. Like that's my identity. It was the same thing with me. So I came back thinking, fuck, I need to just create big things, dude. Even now, man, my mind is like, I've done so much, but bro, I want to do so much more. You know what I mean? Like I've got that constant drive just to create, expand. It's hard to find that, bro, in people today.
It is. It is. And in saying that, also, we live in a world now where a lot of people are chasing this word balance, work-life balance.
For sure.
And what I've come to understand is like someone who has a deep purpose for growth and business and life, there's no balance. Your mind's going 100 miles an hour, just focused on what your goals are. And it is very hard to find this balance. And I don't think there is such thing as balance. I think it comes down to what are your priorities. Like there's going to be days where you're going to be all in on the business. Then there's days you can just spend the whole day with your partner or your family and do travel. Like it just comes down to what do you prioritize, and also
That's great, man. Yeah.
not getting so caught up in, okay, I didn't have a growth day today. That means the rest of the week's gone to shit.
Yeah.
Like playing on a longer scale of things and looking at life or years as seasons.
Yeah, that's
Like
great.
we're going to go through a season of balls to the wall in business. So that means my training may not be good, but keep it at like a maintenance level. So then when I can transition back into going hard in my training again, I'm not a fat piece of shit, you know? So it's like finding what works for you, setting your priorities and continue working forward. But I'm very curious for someone like ourselves who have that growth mindset, on those days where you feel like you're not having as much growth as previous days or previous weeks and you may feel a bit down within yourself, how do you pick yourself up and get back on track? Because it is hard. I personally experience it on days where I'm like, oh, I didn't land this client today, or this client cancelled, so now I'm not making any money and I haven't grown today or I haven't built the business, and I kind of just put myself down a little bit. How do you pick yourself back up?
Bro, that's really good, man. Because I still look at my days. I still look at my days. Like my calendar is like every 15 minutes, bro. Like I crank it.
Really?
I crank it, bro. Like calendar's really important for me. But on a micro level, like if you look at it like at a super micro level, you're gonna get anxiety the whole day. Like, oh man, that meeting wasn't the best meeting. Like, am I on the right path? Was it growth? But if you look at it on a macro level,
Yeah.
like if you look at it like through the week or through the month or through the year, dude, we achieve so much just in a rapid pace, man. It's hard enough to get, one person that is, for example, they haven't done anything for themselves to like invest in one thing, but we're doing so many things, bro, like in our life to achieve more than what we're having. So like I look at it from a macro level now. Micro level used to make me anxious the whole day, dude. And I think with balance as well, tying that back into this is I think clear communication with like your partner, with like everyone involved in your life. Because if you can integrate business, health, life, relationships, family together, it's all in sync, man. Do you know what I mean? Like when I first met my beautiful fiance today, I never integrated it the way I integrate it now. So like I would do business on the side, she's supporting me, and then I'll do business. I would feel guilty because I'm not spending time with her. But now it's like, it's all heading in the same goal, bro. Like I'm working hard for us. She's working hard for us. We've got the same goal. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that's so important, bro. And that's why relationships break down because there's just different goals, different directions. It's like driving a car in a different direction. It's not gonna work.
How do we have those conversations?
Mate, they're tough, man. They're brutal. They're not easy. I think it's just being vulnerable. I think it's just being vulnerable, speaking from your heart, like just having a clear conversation, be like, hey, this is what I'm working on. I'm gonna be working the next X amount of years, X amount of days. Like I don't hate what I do. I'm not thinking about retirement. I don't want to fucking retire. Why would you work your whole life to just want to retire? Like that mindset I hate, dude. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't want to like push, push, push to the point I'm like 60, 70 and to be like, I'm gonna switch off now, mind numb, watch TV. Like
That's when you die. If you don't use it,
yeah,
you lose
bro,
it.
for sure, man. I'm not building my asset, which is me, for the next X amount of years just to switch off. Like, that doesn't make sense, right? I want to work every day, build things, build people, whatever. So, like, it's just having that clear conversation about who I am, my values, what her values are, what's important to her, what's important to me, coming in alignment, and then working on everything together. Super important, bro.
And coming back to, the business and life, I'm a big believer is like our health is our wealth.
Yeah, man.
How do you take a step back from life and everything that's happening and kind of reconnect with yourself and reset the body, the mind, the spirit, and just really get in the zone, ready to smash out another day or another big week?
Man, I was hoping you could tell me, bro. I don't have to speak with that one.
Do you train often?
That's why I'm here. No, I'm joking. I do train. I train every morning, bro.
Yeah, okay.
Every morning, non-negotiable. I eat healthy. Like that's a staple for me.
Because you said you're vegan, right?
Vegan, bro. Yeah,
What
introducing.
made you go down that path?
I went to
Ethical or
yeah, ethical.
Yeah?
Ethical for sure, dude. My partner's vegan, so we're both obviously vegan together. Just hell, I just feel better, dude.
Yeah, okay.
Like I've been, like when I was 19, I went through this massive random kangaroo bodybuilding diet.
Yep.
I was just having kangaroo like 4 to 5 times a day. I just didn't feel good. I was then having chicken, didn't feel good. You know what I mean? So like I just had to change.
Yep.
And it works for me, dude. I love the way I eat now. I'm not eating fake meat, like very organic, whole food.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
like proper meals.
Yeah, you go in the shops, you see all this chemically fake
Yeah,
meat
yeah,
shit. I'm
dude.
like, what the hell?
No, we stay clear of that stuff, man. Like we go to the markets every Saturday. Super like organic food, fresh produce. We make some beautiful things. We have protein from legumes. Like it's not like that type of diet, which
Yeah.
I don't like. And I've had it before, and you just feel like chemically charged.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for me.
I was going to say, you'd be able to whip up some nice dishes, eh?
Bro, of course.
What's your favourite one?
Mate, man, for me at the moment, like when I was working at Noma, like I would just make the most randomest things, dude. Like you'd make like, I don't know, you'd probably like fill up a tube of something and it looks like a tomato, it tastes like a tomato, but it's a fucking beetroot. You know what I mean? Like it's random stuff, dude. Like I'd make that stuff, but now it's important for me to like, what's nutritious for us to eat together so then we live longer, bro. We live longer, we age well. Like that's stuff I'm thinking about now.
Yeah.
Like you are what you eat, dude, at the end of the day, right? But when I come back to it, mate, one of the biggest things for me in the last, let's say, 28 now, 13 years, bro, it's being stressed, man. Like, because I do work. I don't stop, man. It was a point where I left the boat I was working on because I was working from December 19th. I think it was like when my last time was at December 19th all the way to January 14th. 18-hour days every day. Bro, it was insane for me. And it got to a point where I get anxiety telling the story. I was on the boat the last day for me. And then I was like having my day off that same day. I got up and doing my heart, like I couldn't like get up. I just felt like maybe I hit the gym that morning on the boat with the dumbbells. I couldn't. I thought it was like a gym thing, and I wasn't. Dude. I just couldn't. I couldn't get up. It was like my heart was stopping me. I didn't know it was the heart back then. I thought it was like just a chest pain, but I could not get up. I got up finally, and I just went to the captain like, man, I can't breathe. Like I feel this is really constricting, and it's like, I'll take you straight to the hospital. Went to the hospital, and they said my blood pressure and everything, it was like 8,000 more than it's meant to be. And I just couldn't move, dude. I was like in the hospital thinking, and everything kind of stopped for me then because I was just fast paced, adrenaline, things are moving, things are shaking, like cooking, personal training. Like if you go to my Instagram, like I'm doing meditation for these guys on the, it was just fucking random stuff, dude. Whatever, I don't know, but just fucking make it and then create it. So I was doing this stuff, and then that last day for me, I was in the hospital just reflecting. You know, I was like, bro, like if I keep going down this direction, man, I'm gonna be dead, dude. No matter what. Like it's not gonna happen for me. You know what I mean? My life isn't gonna be the way I want it to be because I'm just working so much. You know what I mean? So I was just dealing with that stress back then. That was the thing that now I really focus on, that stress, because man, stress is the silent killer today. Do you know what I mean? Like it really affects people on such a level, man. I don't think we understand. It causes like everything in your body. It could cause cancer, heart problems, everything. You know.
So then, how do you manage your stress?
Is there a book up there, bro, for that? I'd love to know. I'm trying, man.
It'll say something in there, but do you do like meditation,
No, I
breath
do
work?
meditation, bro. I go to church every Sunday. That helps me. Yeah, man. It's one of those things, bro. Because at the moment, I've just got a lot at, like at the same time, I talk to you very calm, in a calm manner, but I've just got a lot at stake, bro. Like I'm doing a lot of things. Like I'm building a lot of great things. You know, I'm running a team of like 20 plus people. Like I'm just with one of like my main business I've got at the moment going on. Like I'm just spending a lot of money in ad spend. So it's just like these stresses just come. But I don't know, bro. It's just like what actually matters. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like we get so caught up in business and the identity shift. You start identifying yourself. It's kind of catching yourself every day, right? What's important? That's why connecting to me more now is like obviously going to church, Jesus, God, what's important, having that connection, that faith-driven connection, because that's what's important, dude. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of my success came when I started going to church, when I started having that connection in my life, because that's what I think it's more about, you know what I mean? So everything doesn't really matter, bro. On a big scale of things, like where there's some little organism on a massive planet spinning in a solar system with, you know, it's just like, does it actually matter? Does that problem actually matter? And then you think about it in a negative way. If I have this stress and I die young and I'm 35, 40 and I'm dead and I have kids and a wife and a house, you know what I mean? Like how much pain would I put them through?
Yeah.
Because I didn't solve the stress I had from something like this. And I've seen it with people, bro. I've met people they don't have a husband, don't have a wife. Do you know what I mean? And that's something that I die, but then they live with this pain for the rest of their life. And I don't have kids that don't have a father, right? Huge struggle for me.
Do you still struggle a bit with anxiety now?
Not so much.
No.
Not so much.
For me, I struggled a lot with anxiety. As I mentioned to you at the cafe, I was that shy, quite introverted kid, hated social settings,
Yeah.
and to the point where I'd make myself physically sick just so I didn't have to go into new environments.
Really, dude?
Yeah, like dry
Wow.
reaching, everything like that. My body would go into full shakes. Just it really, for a period of time, it really took control of me until I really just flipped my perspective on it and started to understand that when anxiety arose for me, it was something that I needed to go towards instead of run away from, because we're so used to running away from things. We like to avoid situations, even if subconsciously we know like it's good, it's going to help us grow. But coming back to that fear piece, we're so fearful of the unknown, and it holds so many people back. So now it's just like, if it comes up for me, even today, I still get a bit anxious doing this podcast. I haven't met you before. I don't know you, right? I don't know what's going to come up during this, but I'm also very excited for it. And they've even done studies, the correlation between anxiety and excitement.
It's very similar.
Yeah, very similar. I was like, ooh, if I can just reframe this in my mind of, okay, I'm not anxious, I'm actually excited. It just allows me to jump in instead
Yeah.
of hold myself back, which I used to do.
It's a good reframe, dude.
Yeah.
Like even on sales calls, when someone says like I'm feeling a bit anxious about taking this step, I'm like, is it anxiety or is it excitement? You feeling pretty pumped?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a good, like they're so close, bro. Anxiety and excitement. So like I can definitely see how you feel that way. What gives you anxiety though? Is it this the unknown? Is it
Yeah, it's the unknown. It's fear of judgment as well.
that's
Because
huge for people?
because
Yeah.
I lacked a lot of self confidence and had a lot of self doubt. I was very mindful, or I was very in my head of what I thought other people would think about me. So I didn't want to like fuck things up. I tried to be like perfect and create all these different scenarios in my head of what could go wrong. And 99% of the time, it never happened.
You know that your whole life?
Yeah, until 20, 24, 25. So I'm 27 now.
What changed it for you?
Really starting to do the inner work
Yeah.
and understanding it and flipping my perspective and changing the way that I look at things. And this podcast, actually, through putting in the repetitions, the more you do something, just like sales, the more you do sales, the more confidence you build, the more you can just jump on a call or walk into a studio and record a piece of content.
Yeah.
It's not going to be perfect every time,
Yeah.
but you're building that muscle
Yeah.
within you.
100%.
And that's the big thing, is coming back to what you said before around, doing the free work and building those skills. You're building that muscle, just like when you train, you go to the gym.
100%, bro.
And the more you do it, the more stamina you build, the more skills you build. So then you could turn up as your best self. And that's a big thing for me, is just continue putting in the reps, getting 1% better in all these different areas of my life, because I want to be that skilled 30-year-old, right? Where I can have the business and I can have that freedom to go travel and spend time with the people that I love and not have to care about going to a job
Man,
and
100%.
all this bullshit that a lot of people unfortunately go their whole lives doing.
Most people, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy when you think about it.
Man, it really is, man. People live in this box, dude. They're scared of life. They're scared of making decisions. They're scared of getting out of their comfort zone. You know, it's just this conditioning people have. It's incredible, bro. It really is. I used to speak to that many people per day that are in that situation to help them want to change. And, mate, it's incredible why people don't change. Like, it's actually so fascinating. If you have a solution that's going to help someone change their life, and then they're too afraid to do it, but they're not afraid to live their whole life in the same conditioning, but they don't want to change. It's just like this massive conundrum people have in their life. It's incredible.
Talk to me about the art of sales. And we spoke about before where what I believe, and I think you're on the same page, of communication is your biggest asset.
Mate, it really is. You know, selling for me has been a journey, dude. So it actually started just before I was living in my car. But I remember the exact time when I was in my car, and then I needed money. I needed cash. So I started messaging my whole network of Tony Robbins people. Just people like I know they have an offer, they're doing retreats. And I found someone which was actually Tony Robbins' energetic healer. So it was really cool. And she was running this retreat. And then I was doing the sales for her. I was sitting in the car, and bro, it was like the best day of my life. So I had about 4 calls back to back. I closed 2, and I made about 2.5K commission. That was like the light bulb moment for me. Thinking, I'm getting paid for my worth. I'm getting paid. I'm just like, that would have taken me, let's say as a chef, if I was making $1,000 a week, 2.5 weeks to make. I just made it in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that is like, just put this thing inside of me of like, let's go. There's a fire that just started, right? So I used that fire, and then I just started I've spent that much money, man. I've probably spent 300K plus on trainings, courses, education. I've kind of fine-tuned the way I sell. You know, I believe with selling for me, one is influence, one is belief in yourself, it's belief in the person, obviously. But it's like a huge thing for me is not giving up on the person. You know, like there's been many times in my life where I've made a decision because someone influenced me to make the decision, and I've been a lot better off for it. But they never gave up on me. There was a salesperson, I remember the exact person at my first Tony Robbins event when I was 18. I went up to him and I said to him, mate, should I do this? I was not going to do the course. And he convinced me in a good way, he influenced me to do the course, and it changed my whole life. You know what I mean? So it's giving someone that, right, to then change their life if you're selling something that's going to be incredible. You know, you have your stuff, your podcast, your media stuff, like that's generally going to change someone's business. Do you know what I mean? Like in so many ways if they're not doing branding and marketing. So it's like giving them that get that gift, if you will. So that's the way I view sales, bro.
You're empowering them.
Yeah, and if you come with that intention on calls and that conviction, bro, you're serving that person. It's a great transaction, dude. But mate, most salespeople today, it's like there's neediness. I need commission breath. They want to make the sale. They want to try and close a deal because they need the money. That stuff doesn't transmute well, right? So it's about having that intention to begin with. It's all mindset for me, but it's all psychology. When I started off, it's like I genuinely want to do the best thing for the person. Therefore, they're gonna obviously have that transaction with me, and that's why I've closed anywhere from like 3K to 130K in a phone call, one phone call.
Yeah, it's being in service as well, and having pure
100%, dude.
intentions, and
Yeah.
it's just like what we're doing today, and this podcast is in service of other people, right? Where we're on here, we're talking about mindset, our journeys, and how other people can shift their mindset and come out the other side from working a 9 to 5 job, and showing them the possibilities that there is so much more out there.
Yeah.
And coming back to sales, you don't have to be a salesperson to sell. I believe we're selling each and every day.
Yeah,
we're,
dude,
we're
for
selling
sure.
how we turn up, right? What we wear, how we look, how we communicate with other people, how we do podcasts, content. Like we're always selling, whether that be for a job interview, or a business opportunity, a podcast. There's so many ways in which every day that we're selling ourselves, and that's why I say it's so important that we learn the skill of communication, because in a world now where we are on our devices all the time,
Yeah.
I believe the people that are going to come out on top are the people that can use their words efficiently and to influence people.
Mate, 100%. Yeah.
How does someone go about improving their communication or selling?
Speak can of worms, dude.
Yeah. In a nutshell, for someone that's like, I would love to improve the way that I communicate myself and I show up in a room, and because you can feel the presence of someone if they walk in the room, and not just physically, energetically,
Yeah,
but then
dude.
as soon as they open their mouth and the words that come out, like, oh fuck, okay, this guy means business.
So before anyone improves sales, I take them on a journey. First of all, like improving human behavior, how to read people, how to understand people, how to understand energetics. Like energetics is huge with selling, man. Like how you actually showing up and presenting yourself to the person, not just in presentable like attire, but in like how do you think, feel at the moment, right? And your mindset around that potential transaction. So it's all the inner game to begin with, right? When it comes to tangible skills with selling, bro, I really believe everyone teaches selling differently at the moment. Like I've worked with people like Jordan Belfort, I've worked with like people like Andy Elliott, I've worked with some like one of the best sales trainers like in what they've done. So I've done a lot of stuff to kind of fine tune what I know about selling. I really believe for me it comes back down to the basics of like communication, understanding someone, understanding buyer psychology before selling psychology, right? People just want to focus on how do I close that person instead of like what's going to make that person buy. Do you know what I mean? Like how you're going to influence that person, or how do they going to be influenced? Do you know what I mean? Selling is, a lot of people think of selling like, oh, cool. What's the perfect script? What's the perfect thing to say? What's the best closing pattern, right? Like how you're going to get someone to obviously give you money in that phone call. But it comes back down to like, cool, what's going to make them actually give you money in that phone call? For what are they looking for? So I believe it comes from like the first inner game, which can be this massive transformation in itself. Like maybe a lot of people, they have a lot of conditioning around selling to begin with. They're scared of it, rejection, childhood, things with mom, dad. They don't know, like there's a lot of trauma in selling. It's one of those things. People don't view it like you and I do, like it's a natural occurrence every day. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like a natural thing. Everyone sells. You sell every day. But people, as soon as someone says the word sales, people sprint.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it's scary. So how do you, like knowing that just in itself, it's like how do you make that person feel so comfortable enough to then, one, be vulnerable enough on a phone call to tell you what they actually want, and then secondly, to actually give you a potential, whatever that may be, for a service that you may have. So there's a lot of stuff that I teach just in the inner game of selling, because that's what holds people back. But that's the scary part. People don't want to do that stuff. They want to just focus on the best script.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's the stuff that's going to make the massive change for people.
A big thing that has helped me in getting clients across the line is building a relationship. That's the biggest thing. You got to be relatable. You got to be vulnerable. You got to feel a connection.
Absolutely. Bro.
Because if you don't have a connection, if you don't have a relationship, they're not going to trust you. And the biggest thing is trust.
Yeah.
You have to earn that trust for them to hand over money essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, dating and sales kind of mix a bit. So like, for example, if you're at a bar and you just walk up to a woman and you just have the intention to close her, bro, what's going to happen? Do you know what I mean? She's going to be like, straight away, resistance, you're too much, you're too forceful, there's no connection, there's no trust, no relationship, I know nothing about you, you know nothing about me, I don't know what you want, you don't know what I want, and nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So with sales, it's the same thing, but most people, they treat sales the same way. So like script, question, try and close, friction, objection handle, boom. Like, bro, you'd be surprised. Most of my calls I take on Zoom, face-to-face, on phone call, I don't get many objections because there's that connection there. Like, they've already made the decision to work with me or do a service that I've got before I close. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's huge, man. It's the mindset people view of sales that's going to help them get a lot better quicker.
Yeah, because a lot of people think it's just a scam. You know, they're just, what are you
Scam,
trying to
dude.
sell me?
Bro.
And it is hard because you do get calls every day of people trying to
course.
cold call you
Yeah,
or,
dude,
or
there's
the
so much
8
scams
telemarketers.
around.
And all that.
Yeah.
It is hard. I want to pivot a bit and come back to investing your money in yourself and being in the room with the big dogs. But for someone who doesn't have a lot of money, how do we get ourselves in those rooms? Is there a way, or is money's the only way?
Man, it's one of those things, dude. Like, it's difficult. Like, I'm all about, like, now anyway, it's always about, like, paying for your seat at the table.
Yeah.
That's my perception. Like, you gotta earn your spot. But at the same time, people, like, I've had some really great A-grade celebrities where I've offered not money for them, but money for their charity. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
like, there's other ways you can influence someone to be at those type of rooms. But I think networking, bro, I'm a big firm believer. Like, I've had some really great people on my podcast. I do business with some really great people over the years that, you know, they're worth like 100 mil plus. You know what I mean? Maybe you can't get to that person, but you know like you're only like a few people away to get to that person. Do you know what I mean? So like, if you want to first have intention to be like, okay, cool, what rooms do I actually want to be in, right? Firstly, and secondly, it's like, cool, who do I know that may know that person, or like, how do I get in front of the people that aren't on the same level, but someone that's around them? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of really good strategies, bro, to be in great rooms, to be with that person, but just ultimately going in potentially through the back door as well.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me, and podcasting is.
Podcasting's
I
huge,
started as a no one. I probably still am a no one, but through the conversations I'm able to have, people recommend me to different people, and I'm just
Yeah.
going up and up and up. You know,
Yeah.
I had Lewis on, he recommended me to you,
Yeah.
and you might recommend me to someone else. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm getting in bigger and bigger rooms as the podcast has grown, and the
Yeah.
more episodes I've done, it's 5 years, 300 episodes. And I have a handy network now, which I've been able to leverage and help build my business off the back
Yeah,
of. And that's why I say
100%,
it's a massive tool, podcasting, to really help you in growing your network and potentially building a business off the back of it if that's what you desire to do.
1,000,000%, bro.
And it all comes back to the beautiful skill of communication.
Everything is communication. It's incredible, bro. I love, bro, the communication I could talk about for hours, man. I love every part of it. Like sales, selling, influence, using like NLP, using like storytelling. There's so many different levels of communication that I love, man. It's probably my biggest passion in this space.
What's the big vision for you? I'm very curious. Do you have one? Well, what keeps you up at night? Like, you know, you got this big vision like you're chasing, or
Yeah, bro. Like monetary.
life, monetary?
Yeah, dude. I want to have like, you know, for me it's the freedom to have transformed and changed like 1 million people plus. Could be in selling. Like I've coached over 2,000 plus people now. I've placed over 300 reps. I've done a lot of cool stuff there, but I want to do bigger and better. I believe, bro, like we're on this planet for one reason. It's the impact. Like I want to leave knowing that I've done a lot of things, the best I could, to impact a lot of people. For me, that way is through business, through selling services, programs, courses. But at the same time, I would love to have like, you know, some really great property all around the world. I love to be living in different countries, freedom, kids, but kids growing up in a way that they also have freedom. They're blessed enough to actually not be stressed, bro. Like I was stressed as a kid because my dad didn't have money. I was stressed because I was getting abused. Like I wasn't like actually brought up in a good family most of the time. 2 broken families, bro. Not 1 but 2. I was living in 2, right? So just simply being able to give a better life to children, my kids, and giving them a better life. That's a huge vision for me, bro, which it never used to be actually. It was always money driven, but now it's like I'm very purpose driven of what I actually want to achieve and create.
You mentioned earlier around, life and business really started to go to that next level when you started going to church and you started building a relationship with God. What's your relationship like with him? And how did you find yourself going into the church? Were you brought up religious?
Well, bro, I went to a Catholic school, pushed me away even more. I went to a public school to begin with. I got expelled. Then I went to a Catholic school, pushed me away even more because it was forced, bro. Forced religion.
I'm laughing now because I went down the same route.
Yeah,
I went
for
to
sure.
a public school and then I was wagging school a lot. My parents were like, you need to change schools right now. Went to Catholic school, Patricia Rose Blacktown.
Yeah, wow.
And I didn't understand it all.
Yeah,
and now
yeah.
I'm coming to an age of now, like I'm seeking to understand. I'm trying to ask the questions of like, fuck, there is something higher than us up there, and trying to build a relationship with God.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting journey.
Yeah, bro, 100%. So I went through all that stuff and it pushed me away. And then, I don't know, bro, I've always believed, because I've seen some really good energy healers over the years before I started believing in God as much as I do now. And I always felt there was more. Do you know what I mean? Like I remember one specific time I was at a retreat with Tony Robbins' energetic healer, which was really cool. And then we're all lying down, just doing all this energy work on us. And I just felt like my mind and my heart, my soul went to like a whole new universe, bro. I was like, this is fucking unreal, dude. So I always felt there was more. I've always been in tune with energy and people and everything. But it wasn't until I met my partner, dude. So my partner, she goes to church every weekend, her whole life. She brought me to church. Man, I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with God. I fell in love with going to church, the people, the environment. And that's just been a huge driver for me because I just feel like, there is more, dude. There is more to life. There is more to people. There's experience. But it's also just living. It's not like just believing and that's it. It's like living like I'm Christian, living like a Christian, bro. Like having the values of respect, treating people fairly. Do you know what I mean? Like I always often ask myself, like, what would Jesus do in this situation? Would he forgive the person? And just these questions you would ask yourself and living in that way, bro, it makes you a better person.
What are some of the lessons or growth areas that you've had since going to church? We mentioned the business, but with you internally, has there been parts of your life that since going to church has really helped you heal through those parts?
Yeah, for sure, bro. I think a big thing is like forgiving quicker and just like, Jesus, bro, he forgave like everyone, like his whole story, right? Phenomenal, man. Like forgiving parents, forgiving people around you that hurt you because you hold all that stuff yourself. And that just in itself, man, you wake up feeling lighter, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like you go into business lighter. Like everything just cross-pollinates, bro. Like business isn't separate to life. Relationships, everything's just integrated. So if you can heal yourself better and faster, you show up differently, man. Do you know what I mean? Like you just show up differently. And it's actually incredible, bro. Like since like I've had that transformation, most people around me in business, life, relationships, new friends, all faith driven. You just attract more people, so I'm super grateful for that, man.
Yeah, I think it's very important to have faith, whether that's in a religion or you believe in something higher than you, especially now. And I've spoken about this so many times. As men, we get caught up in feeling like we have to do everything ourselves and the whole world's on our shoulders, right?
Yeah, of course.
And when we get into those dark pits, if we don't have faith or something that we can pull strength from, whether that be God or whatever that is, unfortunately, a lot of men go down the path of taking their own lives because if they think the world's on them. And that's why it's so important that we do seek and ask the questions and look for something higher than us because there is something higher than us. We're not just here for no reason, right?
What does it change for you?
It's being present has been a really big thing that has changed for me because I was so like ho-gun in building the business and I think it's so important, but being present and understanding that I believe that our path is written for us and not in a way of just sitting back and everything's going to take care of itself, but it's like the path is written, but you have to go out there and work hard for it and just trusting that the universe, the God's going to put the next stepping stone in front of you.
Bro, for sure.
Because if you go through life having that fear of the unknown and fear of what's the next step going to be, you are going to live in a state of stress and anxiety, and it doesn't help you. It's just going to cause physical illness. so for me, it's just taking a step back and putting that trust and that faith in God, in the higher power, and living life every day like it could be my last. And especially now having my daughter, it's like, who knows what could happen?
Exactly.
Who knows? I could go out one day and touch wood, but something could happen to me. Something could happen to my daughter or a family member. So live life as it's your life. Be present. Be grateful. That's a big thing. Is
Yeah,
gratitude,
that's huge, bro.
and not only gratitude for the external, but gratitude for the internal. Like I'm so grateful that I took that leap of faith, dropped out of uni, bought my camera, started this podcast, because I wouldn't be on this path now, having the impact, being in service of other people, if I let anxiety continue to take over my life.
Yeah.
Let the fear
100%.
of judgment take over my life.
Yeah.
You have to take personal accountability and take action. If not, you're just going to be a victim your whole life. So there's some of the biggest lessons. And as I said to you before, I'm still on a journey of asking more questions and seeking to understand. Like I bought myself a Bible. God, that's hard to read.
Nice,
It's
bro.
hard to read, man.
Yeah, so you got to break it down.
Yeah, and I've been to church a couple of times now. And
Nice.
it is very interesting, and I am open to this whole world. And I do podcasts with, Christians, Muslims, and I feel like there's something that we can learn from every religion. And what I'm
Yeah.
coming to understand is a lot of it's very similar. A lot of it's similar, and it comes down to be a good human, do good deeds, be your best self, and ultimately, if we can all have that, the world would be such a beautiful place.
Man, it would be. Yeah.
And that's why it's important to have that faith in whatever it is. Man, spirituality is a beautiful thing.
It is, bro. It truly is. No.
We mentioned before around you've done, like magic mushrooms and stuff like that. What was your experience like with that? I'm very curious because it's not, it is being more spoken about now, but it's not often spoken about around in the same context of religion. It's like the spiritual people do that and the religious people do this, but for you, you're both. So what's been your
Yeah.
experience like?
Mate, the thing about mushrooms, dude, like, to be honest with you, I probably wouldn't take it again.
Okay.
Like, I probably wouldn't take it again. I feel like I got what I needed from it, but, there's a point where I was living in Byron. I was just like,
The mushroom
I
capital.
was there, yeah, dude. Like, you just walk down the street and somebody just buy it from a coffee shop. You know what I mean? It's yeah, man. It was an interesting time. So it kind of like it would just amplify where you are at. So for me, very peaceful business. Like I was doing well. I was just taking it. I was just like very peace. It's very gratitude. But then I just didn't know what to expect, dude. So there was one specific day. It's actually a really funny story. I stay at lots of hostels, and there's a hostel called the Arts Factory in Byron. Do you know the Arts Factory?
No, I haven't.
Bro, it's fucking random, dude. It's like bro, look it up. Just look it up after. It's like you walk in, there's like, everyone's there. It says no smoking pot. The reception is smoking pot. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's funny. You walk outside, there's like a jungle. There's like all these tents in the jungle. And people live there. Like you live in a hostel for years. It's random. There's a king of the jungle. He's been there since day one. It's just like, it's a full story, bro. If you stay there, it feels like you're in another world, like another planet.
It's like a cult.
I don't know what it is, bro. It's fucking random. But anyway, I was staying there, and then I was walking back to Byron one day because I was like probably like a half an hour walk. I decided to hitchhike, bro. Fucking random, dude. Put my thumb up. Someone comes past. I jump in the car, and we're talking. We went to a bar. We drank some beers, and then they said, "You guys," I was with my friend. "You guys should stay with us tonight. Just chill, relax. We'll just play some music." And I was like, "Fuck it, bro. Like I'm young. Why not?" I go there. We sleep there. We wake up. And then they said, "Do you want to go on a journey today?" What do you mean? First time I've taken it. Like, what do you mean journey? Like, where are we going to go? No, we've got these little chocolates in the freezer. What chocolates? The mushrooms. Like, we made them last week. And we're also shamans. So I was like, fuck, bro. What's going to happen here? I just took a photo. Like, me and him, we had this mushroom. I was like, fuck it, let's have two. Let's go all in. So there's two, like, fucking mushrooms.
How many grams was it?
Bro, enough.
Yeah.
So then afterwards, I'm like, okay, cool. We go to this place called the Crystal Castle. Do you know the Crystal Castle?
No.
Bro, first time going. So first time taking mushrooms. First time taking a shaman. And first time just going to the Crystal Castle. The
Going
Crystal
all
Castle,
in.
it's like this massive place, dude. It's like nature. It's like amethyst, like just from the ground. It's just phenomenal, bro. It's in a beautiful valley. So we get there, and I'm just chilling. I'm connecting. All of a sudden, I start like laughing, dude, uncontrollably. And then people just start like it just connects, bro, to me so much, like more. We get inside eventually. Everything feels like it's alive. The plants are moving, and then I feel like I'm pretty gone at that point. Then I come back, and then I do sound healing, bro. Like when I was like at my peak. So I lay down, I close my eyes, and then it just goes crazy. You know what it's like, but you just go crazy. The sound healing, everything's happening. Open my eyes, dude. From that point, for the whole day, I was just completely scattered, but I was connected. It was just this random feeling, man. I made lots of sense in my life, bro. Then, like, I started to feel like the world is very connected to you. You know, like I think people in itself we dissociate a lot from the world, but like the plants, earth, grounding, just grounding alone, it connected me a lot more. Got back to Byron, and I was feeling okay, and then just like, man, do you want to take some for the road, guys? And I was like, yeah, sure. So this is the point where it shifted for me because we had 2 in the morning, felt amazing, connected, like beautiful energy. Crystal Castle, bro. It's like I could write a book about this shit. I love it. And then I got back to Byron. We're saying there's another hostel called Nomads, right in the central. Busy, everyone's drinking, there's drama, like it's all happening. And we're like, should we go out and take it? He's like, yeah. So we take it. Bro, that was like when it started going bad for me. So I left the hostel. I was like, should I get my jumper? And he's like, yeah. My friend's like, yeah, get a jumper. I went upstairs, come back down. He's like, where's your jumper? Oh, fuck it, I forgot about it. Went up upstairs again. I just did this like so many times. I run upstairs, forget what I'm getting, come back down. Did you get a jumper? No, I forgot about it. And I keep doing this loop, bro, for at least like 20 minutes. I finally got my jumper. It's just random, bro. Then I leave, we go to the beach, and then we're just sitting down, and then I look at my friend. He's just like gone. He's just looking at the stars, and he's just like, mate, I've just seen everything. Like, bro, what have you seen, dude? We're just like sitting here on the beach looking at the sky. I've seen everything, man. I know exactly what's going to happen. Like, talking to him like this, I'm like, bro, like, what do you mean, dude? Then I go to the bathroom, and it's one of those bathrooms, man, that talk to you.
Oh,
Bro, I'm in this bathroom, and it's like, the door is closed. Welcome. My name is Alex. What do I have to say, Alexa? My name is Alexa. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, is it real? Is it not real? What's happening? Then I just walk in, and then the same thing happened. I walk in, I'm like, why did I come here? And I leave again. And my other friend wasn't on mushrooms at the time. And he's looking at me and he's like, dude, you've gone into the bathroom and left at least like 20 times. Are you okay? Yeah, dude, I'm fine. And my other friend is just like completely spaced out. Bro, it's literally like that one day, it was incredible for me. It taught me so much, bro, about like life, even about business, man. Like I think, you know, like my connections in the morning with people, I was so connected with them, bro. Like I was just like really hearing them, being with them. Like that, I could feel the emotion, right? And I was grounded. I was connected to the earth, plants, crystals, with the fucking crystal castle, and it just makes you really realize, bro. Like life is about connection, and I think too often people they're on the phone, Instagram, reels, likes, all this other stuff that doesn't really matter, dude, and it doesn't feel good either. Like I'd much rather be in Byron with my partner, connected to the ground, no social media, going for walks like in the morning with no distractions, than getting like 10,000 likes on it. Like it just doesn't matter to me, bro. So there's a lot of good shifts that can happen for you on that for sure. But in this for me now, bro, I wouldn't take it again for sure.
why not?
Just yeah, I'm not sure, man.
Don't feel called to?
I don't feel called to, bro. You know, I feel like in my life at the moment, you know, just to get that feeling potentially. I know people that do microdose it, like
Yeah.
it's a thing for sure, but I don't know, bro. I feel like I'm very grounded enough from that one experience. It's opened my eyes a lot. Like I can keep going down that level. Like one of my friends, he kept going down that level. He just did Cambo and ayahuasca in the same week in Brazil.
Yeah,
Like,
wow.
fuck, dude. Like, how far can you go down? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. It's kind of like my friend did Cambo a few years back. He was in South America for 12 months. He took it, and then everyone thought he was dead, bro. He just dropped to the floor. I'm like, fuck, man. Like I'm good, bro.
Yeah, it is crazy. And a lot of people do get caught up in wanting to continually do mushrooms
Yeah,
and
bro.
do ayahuasca.
It can be addictive, man.
Yeah, it's like they say, a lot of people are personal development junkies. A lot of people are like the
Same
spiritual
thing.
fucking psychedelic
Yeah,
junkies,
dude, for sure.
And I believe most people should try it at least,
Oh,
because
bro, for sure.
the biggest thing that came up for me, and you mentioned it before, is how everything's connected.
It's all connected, bro.
Everything, we're connected to this table, to like
Yeah.
energy. It's like, holy shit. Like, you don't realize that until you go that deep.
Everything's energy, bro.
Yeah, it is. And that's the beautiful thing about it.
Mm.
I had a half experience like yourself. Mine was, I wasn't in the right mindset to take it. Right, I had an argument with my missus, and I felt
dude.
called to take it for some reason.
Bro.
And I took it, and I went to bed, had the healing music on. I was in a good trance, and I was like, oh yeah, I feel connected to everything. But because she didn't know I took it, she came in and turned the music off, and the music like woke me up, and I woke up screaming. I didn't know what was happening, and it just went downhill for there, and
Yeah,
to
bro.
the point where I was scared that I wasn't going to leave this other realm. I was never going to come back into my own body because I was just so far in, and that was a really scary experience.
Interesting, bro.
Which has kind of put me off taking it again. But I'm very interested in down the track experimenting with ayahuasca, because I feel like there is a deeper level of ourselves that we can, enter through doing these psychedelics.
Bro, for sure. And for me, dude, like, going to church, becoming a better person, like, dude, I don't judge anything or anyone. Like, everyone's on their own path, bro. Like, if you feel called to do it, for sure, man. People feel called to go for it, bro. But for me, dude, like, I don't know. People change your beliefs, For me,
Yeah.
like, my friend dropped to the ground dead. Like, I'm not going to chase that feeling.
Yeah.
It doesn't inspire me.
And you already got your message.
I would have message, bro. Exactly, dude. Sometimes if I have to take it for a bit of time, I get a breakthrough and be like, wow. I took it for 5 times. Wow. It all makes sense to me. But the first time was magical for me, dude.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it gave you so many breakthroughs of life.
And you can get a lot of the same experiences through doing just deep breath work. Have you done a deep breath work before?
Bro, for sure.
Oh, man.
Breath work, that centers you, man. You connect. Like, that's what's important, dude. Do you know what I mean? Like, just breathing. We have that stuff naturally. You know what I mean? Like, just a breath work every day. Bro, most of the time, man, people have coffee, they're stressed, work. Like, they don't access that stuff, right? So there's a lot to unpack there with people, bro, because people should have that experience, but we can't because everyone's so busy. The rat race, hamster wheel, life. That's why, again, freedom is important, dude. Having a skill that can give you freedom is important. For me, it was sales. For you, it's media, right? But people need that, bro, because to have that, to get that, it's important. Otherwise, bro, people wake up at 6, traffic, work, job they hate, go home, flat. Their partner says to them, how's work? Great. But deep down, they're dying inside because they fucking hate their life. Like, that's the shit, bro, that I want to help change with people. Because that's not a good life, dude. Do you know what I mean? Like, just saving money, $50 a week to try and get something at the end of the year, 1 week. Like, that's not fulfilling, bro, to anyone.
No.
You know what I mean? It's scary, bro, to me.
It is. It is. And that connection piece with not only yourself, but within your relationships with others and for you, your partner, how has that really shifted the man that you are today?
From mushrooms?
From
On
life in
Portuguese,
itself, like coming into a relationship, really connecting. And on a deeper level, when I had this conversation with Lewis, he speaks around, when our partners trigger us, it reveals parts of us that need to be healed. I'm very curious, has there been triggers that have brought up stuff for you that you need to heal through?
Yeah, bro, for sure. I think the more work you do, the more you realize, like, what comes up for you. I think for me, bro, like, just a simple thing that I do now is I just pause, bro. Because if someone says something to you and they trigger you, just the act of pausing and just going away and reflecting and coming back, for me, it saves all conflict. Because if you just quickly react to it from the trigger, emotional anger, which is nothing to do with her, it's something probably in the past, that's unresolved trauma, bro, that's the stuff that causes fights and gets worse and worse and worse. You know what I mean? So I think the pausing piece of it has really helped my relationship, not just with my partner, but with friends, with people, and just reflecting, dude, and just knowing everyone's just doing the best they can, bro. Everyone's innocent, dude. We're just running on lots of conditioning, things in life that, maybe someone wasn't nice to us. Maybe we have a trauma. Maybe our dad, a mum, a stepdad, a stepmother wasn't nice to us, but that's okay, bro. It's time to, like, kind of, not be a child anymore, to go through the work, but just facing the work, dude, that's the hardest part. You know what I mean? Like just going to a psychotherapist, going to a seminar, speaking to someone, and actually saying like, look, I'm not happy. This is what happened in my past. Like that's the hard part, bro. Being vulnerable enough to do that.
Yeah.
Most people don't, unfortunately. That's why you've got 50-year-old men living as a 14-year-old kid, because they're living their old mindset of things that's happened in their past, and it's scary, dude. You know what I mean? Like, my dad is a testament, bro. He's the same person he was when obviously I started growing up. He doesn't change. They don't do the work. You know what I mean? They're the same person. They start attracting the same life experiences. It's like, as a kid, if your dad or mom cheats on someone or something, you just start attract whatever the relationship with them is, you keep attracting that more in your life, and then all of a sudden, your next 10 girlfriends or boyfriends, they're all cheaters, bro, until you resolve that stuff inside of you. But that's the hardest part, dude. It's being vulnerable enough, and again, that helps you in business, bro. It helps you in everything.
Yeah.
Really, you're more level-headed. You have more clarity in life, in business with purpose.
Yeah, it all starts from building a relationship with yourself. And I think there was a quote, I may have seen it on your page, where it says, wherever I go, there I am.
Yeah.
Which means we can't escape ourselves.
Escape
we need
yourself,
to
dude.
learn to build a relationship with ourselves, look ourselves in the mirror, and
Bro,
ask
for
those
sure.
questions.
For sure.
It is scary, but
Yeah.
if you truly want to achieve whatever you want to achieve in life, it all starts with you.
Yeah.
It's so important. And man, this has been an amazing conversation.
Been phenomenal, dude.
I don't even know how long we've been on for. Okay. Nearly an hour and a half. We've just flowed, and man, we have a closing tradition on the podcast where the previous guest leaves a question for the next guest without knowing who it is. So, okay, this ties in nicely. The question for you is, how vulnerable have you gone with a woman before?
Who was the guest, dude? I'm joking. Yeah, I think for me, the level of vulnerability with a woman, it's like, forget about intimacy, forget about, that physical connection, just being able to like just share, knowing that there wouldn't be conflict, they're not going to try and solve the solution, just being able to share like traumas, share what happened to you that maybe you've never shared before, and just that feeling of knowing that you are safe in a relationship and you are cared for and you are going to get a good response from that. Bro, that's like the best feeling in the world. Like, that's the most vulnerable connection I think someone can have, because you're like saying, hey, here I am, and she's saying, oh, yeah, cool, I accept you for that. That in itself, bro, is the most vulnerable connection I've had.
Yeah, being seen for who you truly are.
Who you truly are.
Without that fear of judgment.
Massively, dude.
It's a beautiful thing, man. And Adam, thank you so much, bro. It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate it, man.
There we go.
Thanks so much, dude.
Whew. If you enjoyed this episode, go check out Adam. I'll have all his links in the bio, and we'll see you guys next time.